You're a growing business, which means you need every spare hour you can find. That's why the most successful growing businesses are working together in Slack. Slack is where work happens, with all your people, data, and information in one AI-powered place. Start a call instantly in huddles and ditch cumbersome calendar invites. Or build an automation with Workflow Builder to take routine tasks off your plate. No coding required. Grow your business in Slack. Visit slack.com to get started.
Looking for a better solution to keep your firearms in high-performance condition? Visit RiptideArmory.com for the most advanced proprietary gun cleaning formula on the market. Right now, get up to $40 off any cleaning kit for a limited time on RiptideArmory.com and take advantage of this amazing deal today. Riptide's two-step cleaning kit offers state-of-the-art technology and guaranteed satisfaction. Riptide Armory is a veteran-founded business, and you can trust that all chemicals are American-made and quality tested. Shop RiptideArmory.com.
You always say how early it is when we ask you certain things. Obviously, sometimes you say it's only April. It's only April. Well, it is April 15th. This is the start of something.
Sure.
What do you feel this is the start of? Is it first day of school? Do you give these guys a message, or do you just kind of say hello, catch up, and let them go? Do the weight training and things.
Yeah. Well, it's the start of phase one. What we had is a squad meeting today and talk a little bit about the expectations for phase one for this particular next 2 weeks. I have strength and conditioning speak. I have Dr. Lonnie, our mental doctor, speak. I have Ronnie Barnes, our head of the athletic training department, speak. I have Ed Triggs speak on kind of the rules of what's expected for these next 2 weeks. So have a bunch of departments that I think are all important in terms of helping the players be the best they can be at this time of the year, and make sure that if they have any questions, they can kind of put a face with a name to get those answered, so that we're doing our job in terms of helping them in this first phase. Have some of the new players stand up, introduce themselves. Some of the new staff members introduce themselves. So it's really, Paul, it's just an introduction meeting to the phase one portion of the offseason program. That's where we're at. And it's good to see, it's good to see the turnout that we've had.
Were you pleased with the turnout?
Yeah. It was very good turnout.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dan Duggan.
Hey, Brian.
Dan, how are you?
I know you said you good. How are you doing?
Good.
I know you evaluate the quarterback class every year, in the draft. But 2018, you obviously were part of a really extensive search, workouts, visits, all of that stuff. What did you take from that experience that you've been able to apply to the process you guys have gone through this pre-draft?
Yeah, I did that then. I did it in 2010, 11, I think. Again, it's, when you're evaluating that position, you could spend hours upon hours talking to those guys that play that spot. So, Joe's had some familiarity with it, and we just do our due diligence. We've done it other years too. It's not just this year. So I think it's important to try to get a feel for that position, because you never know when they'll be available. So you get a chance to meet them and interact with them and develop, a relationship. I'll call it for a couple weeks, maybe a month. But you never know how that's going to develop down the line too. So, we spent a lot of time, in that 18 year of, doing a lot of different things. And, as you do with whether it's schematics or players, whatever it may be, you're always trying to evolve. So, it's been a good process, but it's been a good process with a lot of other positions too that we've been looking at, which is pretty much all of them. It's been between the visits and out on the road, our coaches and scouts have done a really good job of, trying to cross every T and dot every I to get ready for preparation for, what's going to happen in a couple weeks.
And then where does Daniel stand in his rehab process? Like, is he able to be on the field today throwing passes to receivers? Is he at that stage yet?
Yeah, no, it's day one of phase one. I'd say he's making progress. He's, I don't want to say further ahead behind. He's doing everything we need him to do. Hitting it head on, and he's making strides.
Thanks.
Yep.
Art Stapleton.
Hey, Dave. Good morning.
Morning, Art. How are you?
Good.
Good.
When it comes to the, obviously you say phase one, and you're bringing in, Aaron Wellman is coming back, and obviously you guys hired a new strength and conditioning coach. From your perspective, how much do you, before this comes up, work with them in terms of what their plans are, and how important is it for them to kind of get all the players together here today? Because we know the issues in the past you guys talked about at the end of the season. Joe made a big point about how you felt as though, there was a correlation between on-field and what the players have off the field in terms of injury prevention and stuff like that.
Yeah. They've done, as some of the other new coaches, been very, very pleased with of the things that they've presented, how they want to do things, what they think can be better. Been very easy to work with. Have learned a good amount from those guys as well in terms of what they think is important, not just developing the core strength and the quickness, but the type of things they're going to do with the players. They got up and spoke today in the team meeting. Aaron did, Frank, and then the guys we retained from last year that were here. But we've met. I've met with them quite a bit, as you do, to get ready for this particular phase one. I've met with them, often about their structure, how they see things. We've done some different things to the weight room, improved some things in there, I think. And they've been getting after it all morning, which is good to see. But those two guys kind of heading up that area have done a great job for the couple months they've been here.
Is there anything that you could point to that might be the biggest noticeable change for players that come in? Is it
there's a little turf area in the weight room, and the whole weight room is different too. So there's a different vibe in there. There's some things that we can do a little bit more in there for them. We've met here in the morning. They're out there working out right now, and we'll get feedback and make sure we're trying to do everything we can do to help them be the best they can be.
The turf for like movement within the weight room?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's a little turf NY. It's they set up the weight room set up a little bit differently, the configuration of it, trying to maximize our space and give those guys everything they need to do to perform their jobs. So credit to the ownership for doing those type of things for the strength coaches and Joe, and it's a good start. It's good to get everybody back in the building. I know that there's a good vibe.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Brian Dunleavy.
Hey, Daves, how are you?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Certainly not going to ask attendance about every single player there, but given Darren Waller's unique circumstances, is he there today, and what's your expectation for him through the voluntary program? Because if you haven't seen, he said recently he's treating the end of OTAs as kind of his deadline. So do you expect him here at all for phase one, phase two? What have your conversations been
Sure.
like?
Understand the question completely, Rye. Have nothing to add on that from what Joe talked about a couple weeks ago in the ownership meeting. And, again, I'd just go back to our attendance was very happy and pleased with our attendance. But in terms of Darren's specific situation, I'm going to keep that in-house and nothing to add at this time.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Jordan Renan.
Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Joe had mentioned, I think it was actually at the Combine, that Daniel could possibly get into spring, into drills at some point in the spring. How much is that your expectation moving forward, and what are you expecting him to do this spring or be able to do?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. It's day to day, with these injuries. So come in and be improved from where you were the day before, and I don't think too far ahead with that. He's been in meetings, he's rehabbing, he's doing his stuff, and tomorrow we'll see if we can do a little bit more, and the next day we'll build off of that. So more of a day-to-day proposition for us. what's going to happen 2 weeks, 4 weeks, I couldn't give you that answer right now.
And then with your playbooks, and this is the first time you can kind of give playbooks to people, how different is your defensive playbook, one, and then even on the offensive side, obviously you guys go back there, and
sure.
I think Mike Kafka said, we coming up with new things. How much change is there to the playbook that, you give new guys now for this year for the offensive side? Sure.
Yeah, no, I think there's, every year there's change, whether it's personnel, scheme things, coaches, staff members. That's the NFL. So certainly there's some changes within the offense. The defense is obviously a little bit different with the new coordinator. Same with special teams. So we got, again, it's day one. Those guys will have opportunity. We'll kind of build up slowly here in these next 2 weeks to get ready for phase two. That's really the goal for phase one, is to get them in here, really get the physical stuff going, and that's where I want them to spend most of their time in terms of the weight room and with the strength coaches. But you do have a little bit of time here to meet individually. So, that'll be split up with groups, then position groups with the position coaches. But there's a lot to learn. There always is every year, regardless if there's someone here or not.
Tom Canavan.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Good. I guess in 2 weeks we have a draft, and I'm just wondering, how much time is there in a day for you now? I mean, you have the OTAs going on. You have, you probably deep into the draft thought.
Sure.
I mean, how much time do you have to spend on both?
Significant. Yeah, I mean, there's the process of getting ready for this type of setting, the phase one, and making sure everything's organized on that end. But, you spend a lot of time, you got a lot of catching up to do. The season ends, you're starting to evaluate whether it's your roster, the things you need to do better, the free agents that are going to come available in the league, and then, you get to this college deal, and, there's a lot of, our college scouts have done a fantastic job. They have the 3 years I've been here, leading it up by Joe and Brandon and Tim and Hickey, and those guys do a great job. So you're trying to catch up to, you're never going to fully catch up to them. They've been on the road. They've seen them in person. They've done a lot of different things. So their work is really invaluable. And then you start evaluating players and meet with them and maybe going on trips. Our coaches have been out a lot this spring, evaluating guys, whether it's private workouts, pro days. And that's the way it's been for the last couple years. So it's part of the off season. It's a good part of the off season, but there's definitely things that you were behind on, which you end, and you got to try to catch up on, and that's what we're trying to do.
Is there, I mean, the mock drafts all seem so, quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, Giants take whichever receiver is left. I mean, is it that simple?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should go back the last 10 years and look at all the mock drafts and see where everything was before the draft and then after the draft. So, I got a great appreciation for everybody that puts time in, whether they're in the building or outside the building, and people that evaluate players. It's time consuming, and those people that put those things together do a great job. But I would say you never really know until you're right in the moment, Tom, of the day of the draft, unless a trade happens before the draft or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainties. You do the best job to prepare for it, and Joe's done a great job here the last 2 years. He's doing a great job of leading the staff and the meetings that they have, and you just have a great appreciation for the work that people put into it, whether it's in our building or outside the building, because it's time consuming. And you might see a little bit something different than I see. It's not that it's wrong, but that's just the way it goes. So, the mock drafts, I look at them. I definitely look at them because there's probably some people that are communicating with other people and they think this and they think that, but I don't know if the mock draft's ever been 100% in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you trust your work of your evaluation, the people in your building, and then make the best decision for yourself.
We'll take 3 more. Tom Rock.
Brian, you've been the sort of the new guy in the building once or twice in your career, right? So what are Shane and Michael doing today? How important is this for them to kind of set a tone for what for what they hope to do for their units moving forward?
Yeah, it's an introductory meeting for the players. We don't play for a long time. We're really focused on kind of this phase of what we're trying to get accomplished. I don't think you can get too far down the road. There's many months before that happens. So I think meeting the players, being around them, letting them a little bit of a know about, how they want to do things in the meetings, and then, splitting it up with the position coaches. Obviously, we have a lot of position coaches on the defensive side that were here before. I know, but Shane will go ahead and get up. I think his meeting starts at 10:30 today. So, he's in there right now with the guys and going through some things. But really, it's an introduction, Tom, to him, to the new coaches, to some of the philosophies and things that he's looking for in terms of meetings and things like that. But it's not. And same thing with Gobes. Gobes will end up meeting with the guys. The whole team. He wanted to meet with the whole team just to talk about special teams. So that'll be tomorrow for him.
Do you find that you see a different side to your coaches, and you've been working with these guys for a couple of months now?
Sure.
And once the players get building, does that change? Does that change the coach's personality?
No, but it's always it's a great day to have the players back. It's just you as a coaching staff, and then the other staff members, and again, a lot of people have been out. But when it starts feeling like football a little bit, albeit I know 4 or 5 months away, but to have the players in, to see them in the hallway or the lunchroom, to interact with them, I think all the coaches are excited about the start of the phase 1.
Thanks.
Yep.
Peter Splendorio.
Hi, Brian. It's Peter Splendorio with the Daily News.
Peter, how are you?
I'm good. With Devin Singletary coming in, I'm interested to know just what did you like about him as a player during your time in Buffalo? Made him a good fit here, and I guess how has he kind of changed or grown as a player in the years since then?
Well, I think he's been a durable player. Whether it was when I was in Buffalo last year at Houston, he's smart. He handles his responsibilities like a pro. He's got good quickness and vision. He's at a level of production every year that's been pretty consistent, and that's he's a consistent person. He's a consistent player. I'm happy we have him. He's got good leadership traits. He's been a good player for us. When I was at Buffalo, he did a great job last year, I thought, at Houston, and thought he would be a good piece to add to our not just our running back room, but to the offense and team in general.
Thank you.
You got it.
Last one, Patty Traina.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good, Patty. How are you?
Good, thank you. Brian, I know you're always talking about evolving the program, yourself, the players, and so forth. You've had, obviously, year 1 was successful. Last year was a little bit bumpy. Can you speak a little bit about the lessons you pulled from the first 2 years and how you expect to change and evolve the program going forward, including yourself?
Yeah, that could be that's a long one. That's a great question. Look, you always self-assess for the program and for yourself and for your coaches and for the players. That's something that you do every year, and you spend quite a bit of time doing it. That's right when the season ends, going into the evaluations, and then you sit there and you talk about schematic evaluations, and that takes a long time. And then you're talking about organizational structure and things that you want to change or monitor based on scheduling, based on what you can do to help the players be more available. Then it goes into this phase 1, phase 2. How do we want to do this a little differently? What do we like from it? What are the new ideas being brought in? It goes right into the training camp aspect of it. After the and even the OTAs. We spend a lot of time on that relative to there's a certain time frame that you have to do it in, but how you move things around, we discussed that. When to condition, when not to condition, how to do a certain drill. Maybe it's an up-tempo drill on one day, and maybe you cut it back a little bit more, where last year you did up-tempo, up-tempo, up-tempo. You're really looking at every aspect of it to training camp, and where did we stay? Why did we stay there? Was that the right thing? The vehicles from training camp over here. I mean, the details in everything that we do in every department, and you have to lean on the people in those departments that are responsible for those departments as well. You can give them direction, which is a job of a leader, is to give them direction, and then make sure that they're doing their job the way that they need to do their job to be successful. So the communication aspect of that's always improving, Patty. I think it's important when you're at that seat, sitting in that head coach, you have a lot of things coming your way, and that's the nature of the position. And again, fortunately, I've had 28 years, this will be 24 years in the NFL, of seeing it from a different perspective, the last 2 years as a head coach. But when someone comes into your room, you have so many things on your plate and you're trying to do this, you got to take a deep breath and make sure that when they're in your room, it's that's the most important thing to them. They wouldn't come in your room for any other reason. So you got to take a deep breath and make sure you become a really good listener in that regard.
Have you found it hard to make changes and to adapt? You obviously you do things a certain way for a number of years, and if they don't work, do you find it hard to adapt?
Well, no, I think, look, you're always adapting and adjusting. You have to. I mean, when you're a position coach, when you're a coordinator, obviously when you're a head coach. And look, we understand it's a results business, but there's a process to it too. So there's a process that I strongly believe in. And, year one, there was a process. The process gave you these results. Year two, there was another process, not really different from year one too much, some little changes that gave you other results. So was it the process or what? Like, that's what you are always evaluating of, what can you do with that to try to yield different results. And, it's a competitive, tough industry. So each year is a different year. And we're focused on this year. We're excited to be back, and it's been good to see everybody back in the building.
You're a growing business, which means you need every spare hour you can find. That's why the most successful growing businesses are working together in Slack. Slack is where work happens, with all your people, data, and information in one AI-powered place. Start a call instantly in huddles and ditch cumbersome calendar invites. Or build an automation with Workflow Builder to take routine tasks off your plate. No coding required. Grow your business in Slack. Visit slack.com to get started.
Looking for a better solution to keep your firearms in high-performance condition? Visit RiptideArmory.com for the most advanced proprietary gun cleaning formula on the market. Right now, get up to $40 off any cleaning kit for a limited time on RiptideArmory.com and take advantage of this amazing deal today. Riptide's two-step cleaning kit offers state-of-the-art technology and guaranteed satisfaction. Riptide Armory is a veteran-founded business, and you can trust that all chemicals are American-made and quality tested. Shop RiptideArmory.com.